Hi guys, welcome to Conversations with T. Today we're having a Women's Month special. So my first guest for the Women's Month special is none other than Thuli Siposetu Nkosi, also known as Thuli the DJ, also known as Gogo Nokhanya.
Correct.
Thokoza Gogo.
Thokozani ke.
Kunjani?
Siyaphila.
Siyaphila. All right.
Ngiyaphila. I'm good. I'm good.
Asikulindisa ngesikhathi eside.
Let's not even get into that. Rather not.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. So the whole purpose of today, I thought, since there's Women's Month coming, let me get one influential lady who's from EASYSNAP. Ne? You know, must you have some sort of influence somewhere.
That's good to know.
Yeah. So whether it's positive or negative, it's up to you. But I know you have some sort of influence.
Okay.
So I thought, let me get Thuli to kick off our Women's Month conversations with. So yeah, here you are.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for the invite.
Yes, you do a lot of things. But before we get into them, I want us to start with your childhood. Uthuli uzalwa kuphi? Uthuli ukhulela phi? Ufunda phi? Your primary, which high school do you go to?
Okay, so igama lami Thuli Siposetu Nkosi, as you've mentioned. Thuli the DJ, Gogo Nokhanya. Thuli ukhulela eNtshonalanga, born and bred in Tshonalanga here in Tembisa. Angisumuntu wasemakhaya no, uphuma la eTembisa. Mntana sekazi, went to school Ellen Ridge. Actually, I went to an African scratch. Pampukis. I don't know for what reason. I think we had the apartheid anyways. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense. Like strictly Afrikaans was my crèche. Went again to a African school. Ellen Ridge. It was still Ellen Ridge Combined School. I think now it's Ellen Ridge
in
High
Ridge.
School. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I went to from grade 1 until grade 12. Never changed school. Never changed location. Crèche, Rubber Ridge School, Rubber Ridge. It was just my second home. And yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, that's why okay. All right. And then, crèche, it's Rubber Ridge. Primary, Rubber Ridge, high school.
Rubber Ridge.
So after high school, we up.
I went to tertiary. So I did because I wanted to take a gap year. My family would not allow me to do that. So instead, I actually took a course while I was thinking apparently that was what's right, a gap year in school. Mm-hmm. So I went to PC training college and did a systems engineering certificate, basically like an IT on a more technical level. Yeah. And that's what I did for the year. And I saw that they managed to convince me into continuing with it. And then I did an IT diploma for 3 years in the same institution because, it was familiar. And I wasn't really good with changing environments. So that was safe for me. And then I stuck to it. And that's what I did. And went to ESCOM, did a certificate in Cisco. So I was like in the IT field, got an internship at Tembisa Hospital. And I realized that IT is not for me. Not realized. I knew IT was not for me. But I tried it out because then it was the thing of saying, Inemali, you're going to earn good money. You know, and I realized I don't like working with my hands as such. Like it was just not for me. And obviously, I never did any IT after my internship. Mm-hmm. I always knew that I wanted to be a clinical psychologist from a very young age. It was either that or I was going to be a teacher. I don't know how because I lack patience anyway. But I think the healing aspect of things has always been with me. Mm. And media was always something that was big to me. And when you spoke about media, Kaya, was like, I TV. I don't know, a lot of artists were dying then. So it was a thing of saying, you're not doing that. People are dying there. Do you want to die? So you're not going to do that. But it actually stuck with me. Whatever that I wanted to do when I was growing up, it catched up with me because today I'm a healer and I'm still a DJ. Yeah. So I'm actually doing both of those things without the educational background of things.
Mm-hmm. So the healing part of things is sort of, it's still maybe aligned with clinical psychology.
It is. In a way, yeah. It is, definitely, because clinical psychology is the study of the mind, how people think and wanting to help them, in terms of their issues. So I'm doing that still. Yeah. Healing is just that.
Yeah, and it has a lot to do with human behaviors.
Exactly.
So you're still in that path anyway.
Universe answered me.
So
whether my family wanted to or didn't, the universe still listened and it answered me in the most perfect way.
So they convinced you to stay in IT. Who convinced you?
My family. Mom, dad, everybody just wanted me to be in IT. IT has got money. Where am I right now? Useless diploma with a certificate. I've got good IT qualifications that, when I tell people and they're like, but why? I'm like, I don't want to be stuck in a job that I don't like.
Yeah.
I've already seen, I got a taste of it and I realized that it's not for me. So I'm not going to go to it for the sake of money. I'm not about that. So I did not do it. And I think also my calling was literally saying, that's not the direction that we want you to go. And to think about it, it's always been there, and that's why I didn't do any of those things. They managed to get me through the schooling part of it, but in terms of the working environment, it just never happened.
Okay, and in that process, do you somehow know that you actually also want to be a DJ, or you?
No. So for me, DJing, no, it was more of presenting, acting. I don't know. I just wanted to be in TV.
That has to do with
media. It was, but I didn't think about the DJing aspect of it because I don't come from a musical background.
Yes.
There was no radio playing in Kaya. There was no music playing. There was just church. I think that's the closest thing that I had to the music department. But other than that, no. And then I've always been surrounded by music people. I think it was my surroundings, my friends, more than anything, because I would attract a lot of people in the music space, and I dated a DJ at some point, and I think that was when it began, because he would listen to how I would play my music, and he was like, but you've got a good ear, why is it that you don't try out this? And because I loved music, I was like, okay, let me try it out, and that's how it happened.
So would you say he played a huge role in you coming into the DJ space?
Definitely.
And he taught you how to play?
Definitely. So he taught me on the decks. It was more of the stand there, press that green button. No, not that one. Increase the volume.
Learn as you go.
I learned as I go, and that's how I learned. And he's the one that pushed me into that direction. I didn't see myself as one, but I think at some point I was going to be, considering the people that I hang around with.
Okay. But now, who influences your choice of music? Because I know he didn't play the music we are playing now.
No.
So who influences the style that you're playing now?
Myself. I do, like, honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. Sometimes I shock myself in my musical background and how I would go and listen. I don't know how it came about to have even that ear of spotting good music, but I do listen to music a lot, and I started listening to radio a lot, and I think it's just my connection with music. And also when I play, I always say I play what I relate to, and fortunately enough, people relate to the very same thing
that you play.
That I play.
All right. So I want us to actually engage on a higher level. I don't want this interview to be just a lousy any other interview. I want us to try and go deeper into things without even mentioning people's names and whatnot. But I want this interview to heal someone some way who has not even spoken to you. Again, it's a Women's Month special. So I want this interview to touch a lady sitting somewhere that has never been to any of your gigs, that has never maybe interacted with you. But from this, I want us to reach out to someone through you. So after the ad break, sizongena deeper into some maybe personal or ish, but I know we're gonna help someone through this.
Definitely.
Guys, we're going on an ad break. Siyabuya manje. Show Bafetu, we're back again with Thuli the DJ. Thank you for tuning in. Ozakoko. So during this period, you are dating a DJ, you're learning how to play, you fall pregnant. You fall pregnant, kuba nomntwana. And somewhere a few months down the line it happens, Guti, the baby passes. How long was that? Bega how old?
3 months.
3 months. Okay, and it was a girl. I remember it was a girl. How do you deal with that as a couple and as family? Are you getting backup? Are you getting enough support from your friends and all those things? How do you I don't think you ever really um, um, get over it, but how do you move from that mentally and emotionally become yourself again and try carry on with life?
Yeah. Okay. So I think I'll start by saying this. For as long as I've existed in Tlabeni, my life has been quite a roller coaster, full of challenges, full of hardships. But there was something about the death of my child that brought me closer to God more than anything. Having lost my mom in the process of that, because before my child, we'll start with I had an op on my hand, I lost my finger, got an infection. So that was the first. Second, lost my mom. During that process, third, I was raped just after my mother's death. And fourth, being in this relationship, first serious relationship ever, and very abusive. Fall pregnant during the relationship, the abusive relationship. Obviously, when I fall pregnant, it's almost like I'm saying, okay, God, maybe this is the time where you're going to change this person, where, you know, he's going to be a different person. I mean, we're going to be parents soon. This is my first child.
Yeah.
And I think it will change him in a way, you know. And little did I know it would move from bad to worse.
Okay.
Nothing changed. And the pregnancy was hell, to say the least. I don't even remember if there was ever a good time. The child is born. She's born with a heart defect, meaning there's a hole in her heart. And the growth of her organs, the heart did not fully develop. So obviously we are aware when she's born and they say, okay, in 3 months we'll be able to operate. Let's monitor how she grows. Funny enough, my child was she looked very healthy. Even the doctors were very shocked at how she was growing. She had no side effects. She had no defects. Speech was perfect. She was growing as a normal baby, and they figured, okay, since that she's growing in a normal way, we'll push the operation to 6 months, because it was a huge operation, I mean, of the heart, to fix the heart. And if she's growing so well, then at least let's wait for her to grow up a bit. And she caught flu, and after the flu, caught a lung infection, was hospitalized. I remember coming back from work, because I know the routine to Umdanam when I come back. She knows my voice. She would wake up and we would chat. And I get there, she's not getting up. And then 10 minutes later, 15 minutes, try to wake her up. She's not responding. Take medication. She had a nanny and the nanny had left already. So I just give her the medication. I can't get hold of her to find out if have you given her the medication? What's happening? Was she? Yeah, because I called during the day and she was like, no, she's fine. She's sleeping, and she was getting better at the flu. And obviously, one thing from another, she stopped breathing. We drive to the hospital, 30 minutes. We get there, she's already quiet, not responding. Get to the hospital, they resuscitate her for like 30 minutes. She comes back to life and straight to ICU. And you know, the doctor comes and tells me, she's like, you know what, Mami, we need to pray for a miracle here. I don't see your baby coming out of this really alive and healthy. And you know, with the heart condition now, she's got a lung infection, she's got meningitis. It's a lot on that tiny baby. But sihlale thembeni. We prayed. I prayed. 2 days later, the third day, I remember the hospital calls me in the morning, and I'd left her the previous night. She was making so much progress, and I remember coming back home, and I was just saying a prayer of gratitude to say, thank you, God, my baby's healing and we're okay. And for the first time, I slept. Got woken up by a call in the morning. Mommy, you need to come to the hospital. What is it? Is
Which
she dead?
hospital is this?
Tembisa hospital.
Okay.
Is she dead already? They're like, no, she's not, but you need to come to the hospital. And you know, I take my time. For a person who just received such a call, you jump and, you know, get into the clothes.
Recovering.
You know, I was like, I take my time, I go to the bath, and I go picking an outfit. And I wake up my mom, my aunt, and I'm like, no, what's for Nelly's bed? She doesn't even bath.
What
She
time
gets
is it?
into around 7ish in the morning.
Okay.
She gets into her clothes, we drive straight to the hospital. When we get to the hospital, first thing I'm like, can I see my baby? And when I get to her, she's still breathing. Go to the doctor and they tell me she's not responding to any medication. They've called the pediatrician from Mesaning Hill and they've tried every form of medication. She's just not responding. She's got a couple of hours left at most. They're not sure. But not right now. If I want to do anything, I must just do it. Whether I want to call a priest or want to call whoever.
Where's Daddy?
Daddy's not around. I've already called him to say we need to get to the hospital.
Okay.
Obviously, I was like, no, it's fine. Go to my child. I'm like, I don't want to do anything. And that's it.
Yeah.
And the doctor's like, okay, I'll get the nurses to help you. And that's all I did. I held my baby and I prayed and I told her that it was okay. She had fought a long fight, and if this is the end of our journey, then it's okay.
Would you say you had maybe tried and dealt with it or mourned it from the day you found out there's some problems with the baby and all those things? You were just hoping for the best.
The best. And even on that, at that moment or at that minute when I held her, that's when I actually knew that this is the end of our journey. You know, it's not something that I thought about because, I mean, yesterday night my baby was okay. Today I get a call. And when I get there and seeing her, she's still there. And when I held her, I knew at that moment that this is it.
Yeah.
I need to let her go. And that's all that she wanted. And I was like, thank you for waiting for me. And it's okay, Nana. She
slept in your arms?
Definitely. I even closed her eyes and that was it. The machine stopped at that moment. And that was the end of my baby's journey. And from there on, I remember dealing with the whole process. As I said, it brought me closer to God. I remember there was one woman. Remember, none of my family members have ever lost a child. This is the first time that we've actually had such a situation, and nobody knew what to say to me or how to comfort me. But I remember there was one lady that had lost a baby as well. And she came to me. She's like, you know what? I don't want to tell you a lot of things. I just need you to go and read the book of Job.
In the ward?
During the funeral. So everything is done.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
She comes to me and she says, please do go and read the book of Job. Actually, it was after the funeral. And just read that book. And I promise you, it has healed me. It has comforted me. And obviously, I hope it will do the same for you. Okay. And you know, the birth of my child, when I knew everything that I knew with the abuse and everything, I had started a routine of having to pray all the time over my baby. So that's what I'm saying. The birth of my child really brought me closer to God. And, you know, have a relationship with him. I didn't know how to, I wasn't sure if I knew how to pray, but with her birth, I could, you know, thank God for bringing this baby to me. Thank you for blessing me with her. Thank you that she's still alive. And I think that is why it was so easy to even let her go at the last moment, that I knew this is it and I was ready to let go of it. And that's exactly what happened. And even after her passing, when I read the book of Job, that's what carried me through. It was really my baby lived a good life. I mean, 3 times she escaped death. And even in the last part, I was like, you know what? I've been fortunate and blessed enough to have this miracle baby. And if God gave me this one, then he will definitely give me another one. And that was the end of our journey.
Wow, what a story. Women are strong. Hey, women are strong. It could never be a guy. Watching your child sleep, taking her last breath in
and
your
closing
arms.
her eyes. Being
It could never be a guy. It could never. Do you somehow feel Daddy was at the back of his mind, he knew what's about to happen, or he had a feeling of what's about to happen, so he'd rather not experience it?
I think he had a feeling of what's about to happen. He didn't want to be a part of it. Got there after the process was like 30 minutes done already. Yeah.
Sure. Hey, let's go for an ad break. I need to breathe. We'll be back, guys. Stay tuned. Come back with us. So, Gogo again. We have a question from one of our crew members. Before we wrap up the whole thing, Yomtwana, He wants to know ukuthi, what's going on through your mind dating makangekho, through that process. The dad is not there. Okay, he's there, but on that last I said last hour of you from home to the hospital, what's going on through your mind? Are you thinking of him, or your focus is solely on the girl?
I'm not even thinking of him. I think because with the nature of our relationship, remember I was dealing with a very abusive person. So if there were any feelings, there were feelings of anger and resentment that I don't think we would have been here today had you been a great partner, had you been a great father, you know. So no, he's not even a part of my thinking process. All I'm focusing now on is these last moments with my child, for them to be precious so that I can really heal as well from everything. Because here's this human being that I thought was going to come and fix a whole lot of things, and now she's getting taken away from me. So no, I'm not about to think about the other person.
So I think yeah, no, it was a tough one. It was a tough one. According to me, I don't know how I would have coped. That's why I saw it fit. Oguti, let me open this Women's Month special with you, because I really am convinced, Oguti, your story was a really hectic one, and it's not all of us that can stand for that. Some people, after such an experience, their life takes a serious dip. They never recover. They never recover. So let's go to the without mentioning names or whatever. I don't want this to look like uti yabo uzamu pushy agenda. Let's go to the GPV part of things. I mean, almost everyone who's old enough knows about that. It was trending. It was all over. I remember waking up and there's blood on my screen. Jegu busy, and then mangpuma ngegate. Hey. Yeah, ne. But it was hectic. For that week, it was too hectic. It was on radio, metro.
It was everywhere.
It was everywhere.
TV.
So, again, another obstacle. How do you get out of it? First, it was the baby. You are trying to deal on it. You're trying to deal, and you are expecting, okay, he's your partner, okay? He's supposed to be dealing with you, processing, and then boom, it happens. Were there any signs, Uguti, something big of that size or of that nature can ever happen in your relationship?
I don't know about the size, but I knew that for me to get out of this, something intense had to happen, something huge had to happen, and I was ready for it. And as cliched as it sounds, guys, God answers prayers. Definitely. He listens and he answers. I think having to understand myself right now on the spiritual journey, I realize how much my ancestors have pulled me out through a lot of things. I remember in the last instance when this whole big thing was about to take place, on that very same week, remember I keep going back to this person, and you know our mentality as victims.
Yeah.
Trust me, if somebody says to you, no, if somebody says to you, I'm in an abusive relationship, uyangishaya mara ngiyamthanda.
I know.
They are not ready.
I know for
they are
sure.
not ready.
Then I'm sure of.
It's so funny because at that moment we want help, but at the same time, you also want to help him. It's almost like I want to help you so we can help us
you're not helping
to
me
be
to
okay.
Help you. Yes.
You know. And in that week, I had gone back, and I remember my friends were so upset at me. But when I went back this time, I went back with this thing of saying I knew this had to end somehow. And I remember getting to work and Googling how to fast.
Yeah.
I knew this is now a conversation I need to have with God. I've been speaking to everybody around me. I've been asking for people for help, but I'm still in this situation. So what now? God is my last hope. And as I fast, I remember going through that, and they were saying you need to be intentional, you need to say what you want from God, and you need to do this, and you do that, and you do this, and you pray on a daily, and have a prayer point, and stick to it, because then when the answer happens, you need to see that you've been answered in whatever that you are praying for. Exactly, and you need to be ready, and also take accountability on certain things, because now you're coming to God and you want Him to help you. And I went back, and my prayer point was like, God, I need you to get me out of this relationship.
Now.
And whether it be near box or it be me living my life without this person, then so be it. So it's two options. Either I die or I'm out of this relationship, and I'm never going to look back, and I'm never going to live in fear, and this person is never going to bother me again. So you need to make that happen. And that was all I wanted from God.
Okay, let me stop you. Mauti, he's saying he's bothering you. Are you still dating?
Of course. We're still in a relationship.
And you're turned.
I think the love was long gone. It was fear now.
It was no longer
no. It was now fear of saying, Kumbula Mauti Puma, they were always telling Zoktola. And we had episodes of you waking up in the night and they say you must say your last prayer and he's gonna kill you now, and you're crying there. And you had episodes of he hits you, after hitting you, you are crying, and then he has sex with you, and then you need to be okay. So we had really gone through all of the worst stages of the abuse.
You still need to show up at events with him.
No, definitely. I'm a DJ, so everybody's still expecting me to show up with him. And even with him, when he goes to his gigs, we show up and with a happy couple. You need to pretend, you need to laugh, you need to pretend like at times we'll be sitting here laughing with you, and we get into the car and it's your car.
And you're not driving at that time.
No.
So in most cases you're relying on him to take you.
Definitely.
And he wants to show up with you, because that's what we are used to. Okay, that's the norm. When he arrives,
Yeah, the couple were the DJs. So in that week, I prayed to God, and that's my prayer point. So in the last day when this incident happened, I remember, and without getting into much detail because we don't have time. And this thing happens. Here I am, young Shaya, with the tow rod on my head, and I'm holding on to the steering wheel, and everybody's looking. We're in an engine garage and nobody's helping, and I'm like, okay, this is it. This is probably the death part of it, and I really need to give in, because now I'm bleeding, I'm weak, I can't fight back, and eventually I let go. And after me letting go, I become unconscious. So I don't know what happens next, because at that moment I said my little prayer, and I was like, you know what, this is what I asked for, this is what I prayed for, and it's okay, God. And I close my eyes, and I wake up in the hospital the next day in the ICU, and trust me, instantly I knew God had given me another chance. It's done. I did not even know what was happening, or whether he died, or whether he did what. The moment I opened my eyes, it's done. I've disconnected from him, from everything, and this is a brand new start. And in all of that, in my prayer and in fasting, remember when you're gonna ask God to do something, there are certain things that are required of you. As the Bible says, says, to whom much is given, much is required. You need to bring in your and really, I said to God, if you free me from this, I'm going to forgive. I'm going to let go of everything, and I'm going to start my life again. And I knew, Guti, that was my second chance, and it had to come with no grudges, no lashing back, no fighting back, no doing other things. I think that is why a lot of people, when they wanted to get hold of me after the abuse, the news, the radio, everybody wanted a story. Yes, I was going through a lot at that time.
But you managed to keep your silence very well.
I kept my silence very well. I have never to date had a dialogue of what happened in those events. And no, I am ready to do so, because I believe, Uti, it will teach a lot of women, because GBV is a very serious thing. And as you said, how do you get out of it? How do you heal after that? It's a journey. Today I still have triggers. I still have problems in relationships. I still have certain things that I don't want to hear. There's certain things that when I see, they just evoke certain emotions in me. So it's a journey, it's a process of healing that takes probably a lifetime as well. It doesn't happen overnight. We are still healing, but in the hope that in my healing, I can literally be able to help other women heal from my story. And yes, I do want to tell that story in depth and in, you know, explaining all of the incidences that happened. As I said, for it to get to a point where I almost died, it didn't start there. It started with the slap. It started with the fist. You know, it built up to certain things. What, you know, you ask yourself, what is it that I've done? So was it my fault? Was I too beautiful? Was I dressing short stuff? Was I too slim? Or was it him? You know? Oh, exactly. Or was it how I used to speak? Because I remember that was also a problem for us. And how I would always defend myself in saying, why went this so? And then I always want to explain, it's like, yeah, you know. And today that is also a trigger when somebody doesn't allow me to explain myself why I did something.
It takes you back.
It takes me back. I want you to understand why I did what I did, because then it was a problem. I would get beaten for it. You know, today I've got sexual triggers and problems because of this guy used to beat me up and sleep with me at the same time, would turn me in certain positions. So you can't turn me in certain positions, then it becomes a problem for me. And yeah, it's a whole lot of, we can go on forever about this thing.
Yeah, no, it's really been a hectic one. And I think for even someone who was observing from a distance, it was not easy to look at. It was not a good sight to experience. So I'm just thinking, good for when because for people, especially ladies, maybe ladies who've also been through, or even those who have not, but maba bega wena as a case study and trying to check what if lento yenzakala kuThuli beyenzakala kimi. And some were judging, obviously, why begangayenza ama protection order and all those things.
You know, as I'm saying, we would have to have time to talk about those things. And I think to take away from all of this, healing, as I said, is a process. I am not fully, completely okay. I've not fully healed from a lot of things. And I also feel like my spiritual journey has helped me to get at least 70% there to say I've worked through a lot of issues, and I understand that it was not my fault, and I understand that I did nothing wrong. I did not deserve to be beaten up like that. I did not deserve to have a near-death experience by somebody who you know,
just so a relationship can end.
You know, so none of it is my fault, and I think what I can take away from it is that uNkulunkulu wangidala ngale ndlela engakhona, and I don't want to change. The fact that vele ngifuna ukuthi ungilalele and ngifuna uku-explain in certain instances when I do something, that is me, and I'm not going to change.
And there's nothing wrong.
There's nothing wrong with me, and I still believe ukuthi khona umuntu ongeza empilweni yami that is going to love me the way I want to be loved, that is going to treat me like the queen that I am. I fought to be where I am. Today, you introduce me and you say it's Thuli the DJ. For the longest time, it was Thuli ga. You know, it was, you are the Thuli ga.
Yes.
And
so you are riding on someone's wave.
Worked my ass off to get to this point right now. It's been a long journey. It's been beautiful as well. I think it's been finding myself, and today I can completely say that I'm at peace with who I am. I know who I am, and I know what I want, and I know what I don't want. I'm at boundaries that you are not going to cross this line, and if you do, then I'm out. You know, type of thing. I stand firm in what I believe, and I'm really proud of the progress that I've made, and I'm really proud of who I am right now.
Wow. Yeah. For the sake of time, I think we're gonna have to do a part 2. I don't know when, but we have to do a part 2.
No, definitely.
Yeah, because I think there's a lot to talk about. Because now we've just touched kancane nje, and there's a lot of good that is happening now. So
in my life.
Yes. Yeah. So I think kule part 1, let's just lock up this whole negativity and stuff. But with a hope, there's a lady who's gonna see it and learn something from it and not wanna go through what you went through.
No, definitely.
Are you promising a part 2?
No, definitely. And I think the one thing I want to say at this moment to all the women out there, more than anything, love yourself. Know who you are. Know that you are worthy of everything beautiful and good in life. Don't compromise. Don't settle. If you know what you want, then strive for it. Go for it. And if the next person cannot give you that, give it to yourself. So that, I always say, Uti, be happy in such a way. It's not somebody else's responsibility to make you happy. You need to be happy first. Because if you are happy and somebody comes into it's very contagious. And then everything else is just a cherry on top. But let not your happiness be somebody else's responsibility. It's not. Nobody owes you a phone call or a text. Do it for yourself. Fulfill yourself. Love yourself. Be content in your own space. And the rest of the world will just, vibrate towards that good energy. It's important.
All right, Gogo. Let's see, Valley.
So was
we're gonna meet go part 2 on a lighter note.
Yes,
a more festive note, a more celebratory note.
A more DJ note. We didn't even talk about my DJ.
Yeah, see, and a whole brand. I'm 2 years young.
A whole brand. It's coming. It's coming. Okay. Sorry. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in for our Women's Month special. It was another educational, inspirational, and uniting episode of Conversations with T. We'll see you again, hopefully, part 2. Sharp.
Thank you.